My wife said, "Don't look for me, I need freedom." So I filed for divorce, froze our accounts, and walked away. But 4 days later, she was outside my lawyer's office crying, begging me for a second chance. I 34M, came home one evening after a grueling 12-hour shift, my muscles aching and my mind running on fumes, only to find a single folded piece of paper resting on our kitchen counter. The air inside the house felt heavy, different, as if the walls themselves knew something I didn't. There was a stillness that made my skin prickle, no soft music playing from her phone, no distant hum of the dryer, not even the scent of her perfume lingering in the hallway. Her car wasn't in the driveway, which normally wouldn't have meant much. But that night, it was the first thing that sent a dull throb through my chest. I looked around, slowly taking it in, the absence of her purse tossed casually on the couch, the missing pair of shoes she always kicked off by the door, the counter devoid of her half-finished coffee mug. Every corner of that house whispered the same unsettling truth. She was gone. The note was written on our wedding stationery, the expensive cream-colored sheets with our initials elegantly embossed at the top. It was a gift we'd never used, meant for love letters or anniversary notes. Not this. My hands trembled slightly as I unfolded it. The words were short, but they hit like bullets. I need freedom. Don't look for me. Don't call the police. I'm safe, but I need space to figure out who I am without you. This isn't your fault, but I can't do this anymore. 8 years of marriage reduced to 4 sentences on fancy paper. At first, my mind refused to process it. I read it over and over until the words stopped making sense. My instinct screamed to grab my phone, to call her, her sister, her mother, anyone. But something about the note's tone stopped me. It wasn't a plea for help, it wasn't emotional or rash. Felt cold, thought out, a plan executed to perfection. I walked through our house like a detective examining a crime scene. Her jewelry box was empty except for one thing, her wedding ring, lying in the center like a final accusation. Half her closet was bare, but it wasn't careless packing. She'd taken just enough that I'd notice, yet left enough behind to suggest she might return. Her laptop was missing, though her iPad sat charging neatly on the desk. Her good suitcase was gone, but the carry-on still remained. Every detail screamed preparation. This wasn't impulsive. It had been planned for weeks, maybe months. I sat down on the edge of our bed. My bed now, I guess, and tried to remember the last time we'd truly spoken. Not the boring routine talk about bills or dinner plans, but a real conversation, the kind that makes you feel seen. Couldn't recall one, and that hurt more than the note. The truth was, I wasn't shocked. I'd felt it coming. The distance, the coldness, the silent dinners. She'd been working late more, snapping over small things, moving through our life like a ghost. I told myself it was stress, that everyone goes through phases, but this was final. So I did exactly what she asked. I didn't call anyone. I didn't drive around searching. I sat in that empty house, opened a beer, and made a list. The next morning, I called my lawyer, a sharp, no-nonsense woman in her 50s who'd helped me set up my business years before. When I explained everything, she was quiet for a moment before asking, "Are you sure you want to file this fast? Maybe wait, see if she reaches out." I told her about the note, the strategic packing, the emotional absence. I told her this wasn't someone who'd lost control. This was someone who'd planned an escape, and I wasn't going to sit around waiting to be abandoned twice. She understood. Within 48 hours, the divorce papers were filed. Irreconcilable differences and abandonment. My lawyer walked me through the legal maze, freezing the joint accounts, canceling shared credit cards, protecting my business. It felt harsh, but as she reminded me, she made her choice alone. You're just protecting yourself. And she was right. Calling her office was the hardest part. Her supervisor sounded confused. My wife had missed 2 days without contact, which was completely out of character. I covered for her, saying she needed time away, not wanting to ruin her professional reputation. Even then, I was still protecting her image. Funny how habits die hard. By Thursday, just 3 days after finding the note, I felt something unexpected, relief. The house was calm. I could eat what I wanted, watch what I wanted, sleep when I wanted. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was walking on glass around someone else's mood swings. That's when it hit me, maybe I needed space too. So I took a vacation. I booked a cabin in the Colorado mountains, somewhere remote with no cell service. I told my lawyer to forward anything urgent, packed my gear, and left that Friday morning. The drive felt like shedding layers of a skin I didn't realize I'd outgrown. The mountains were everything I needed. The air was crisp, the water clear, and for the first time in a long time, I slept without waking up to anxiety. I hiked, cooked simple meals, sat by the fire, and let the silence heal me. For 4 whole days, I didn't think about her once. When I drove back Monday morning, my phone exploded with 17 missed calls. 12 from unknown numbers, 3 from my lawyer, and 2 from her. I called my lawyer first. Her voice sounded tired but amused. "She's been outside my office since Friday," she said, crying, demanding to speak to you. Apparently, my wife had been served divorce papers at her mother's house Friday morning. Her reaction? Shock. She'd assumed I'd spend weeks chasing her, begging her to come home. She never expected me to take her note at face value. When her debit card was declined at a gas station, followed by her credit cards being canceled, reality hit her hard. My lawyer asked if I wanted to speak to her. I said no, not yet. I wanted to shower, eat, think. I'd spent 3 days wondering if she was dead or alive. She could spend a few hours wondering the same about us. When I finally agreed to meet, it was only at the law office with my lawyer present. No drama, no pleading, just facts. She was sitting outside the office when I arrived, looking smaller than I remembered, fragile, even. Her eyes were puffy from crying, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. For a moment I almost pitied her. Almost. Inside, she explained everything. She'd driven to her college roommate's place 3 states away, convinced she needed freedom to rediscover herself. But reality didn't match the fantasy. Her roommate had been blunt, telling her she'd abandoned a good man without even trying to work things out. Within days, the glamour of freedom had turned into loneliness and regret. When she came back Thursday, she expected me to be there, waiting. Instead, she found the house empty and divorce papers waiting at her mother's doorstep. Tears rolled down her face as she asked why I didn't call, why I didn't fight, why I didn't try to bring her back. I looked at her for a long time before speaking. "You told me not to look for you," I said calmly. "So I didn't." Her lip trembled. "I just needed space." "You didn't ask for space," I replied. "You asked for freedom, and I gave you that. Completely." The meeting lasted less than an hour, but it felt like a lifetime closing. She cried softly as my lawyer outlined the divorce process, the division of assets, the timelines, the signatures. She nodded mutely, signing where she needed to. No demands, no alimony, nothing, just quiet acceptance of what she'd set in motion. As we walked out, she turned to me and asked if I hated her. I told her honestly, "No, I just don't trust you. And I don't want to spend the rest of my life wondering when you'll need freedom again." 6 weeks later, the divorce was final. No drama, no delays. She moved in with her sister and eventually found a small apartment across town. We split our belongings fairly, though she seemed shocked that I wanted to keep most of the furniture. I think she expected me to burn it all down out of heartbreak. But truthfully, I liked my home. I'd chosen most of the decor myself anyway. Telling our families was the hardest part. Her parents were devastated, asking if we couldn't fix it. My parents were quietly supportive, though they couldn't quite believe how fast everything had happened. Our friends were split. Some called me cold. Others said I'd done the right thing. But I didn't care much what anyone thought. I'd found something in those mountains that no one could take away. Peace. 3 months after the divorce, I heard she was dating a coworker. The same one she'd confided in before she left. It didn't hurt. If anything, it confirmed what I already suspected. Her freedom was never about finding herself. It was about seeing what else was out there. 6 months later, she texted me out of nowhere. She wanted to talk over coffee. She said she'd made mistakes, that she'd realized what she'd lost, that maybe we could try again. I declined politely but firmly. I'd built a new life, one that didn't revolve around managing someone else's emotions. I'd started hiking again, picked up photography, even enrolled for my master's. Most importantly, I'd met someone new. She was kind, steady, and real. We met on a hiking trail, both of us laughing at how we'd gotten lost. There was no drama, no emotional whiplash, just genuine connection. When my ex texted again later that month, pouring out paragraphs of regret, I read it once, then deleted it. A year after the divorce, I heard she was engaged to someone new she'd met at a yoga retreat. He was spiritually free and emotionally aligned, according to friends. I felt nothing but relief. As for me, I'd finished my degree, gotten a promotion, and the woman I was dating had moved in. We were talking about marriage, not as a fix for loneliness, but as a partnership between two people who knew who they were. Sometimes people ask if I regret not fighting harder for my marriage. My answer never changes. No, because fighting for someone who's already gone is just postponing the inevitable. She wanted freedom. I gave it to her fully and permanently. And in doing so, I found my own. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories of strength, closure, and finding peace after heartbreak.